In the provinces, there are jewelers who walk around the neighborhood offering to buy your broken gold jewelries. Ay, ganun. Bumibili po kami ng dito. Yeah, but of course you can, and of course they have to know when they have to have a way of finding out if your goods is really good or gold is really gold and not fake gold. So they use that. So they have a small bottle. Usually they put it in a plastic bottle. The most common bottle is yung Vicin, empty container of Vicin. You know Vicin? Vicin is an eye drop. Okay? And that's bad actually. If you mistake that bottle containing nitric acid for a bottle of Vicin, you use it, you use your eyes. Nitric acid can dissolve most metals, but not gold or platinum. So if you give the person, let's say, a piece of copper, you know, this is gold, but because copper, when it's polished, looks like gold. Polish it. He or she will put a drop of nitric acid. If it dissolves, then it's fake. It's not gold. So what I'm saying is, nitric acid is a very strong acid. HNO3, and it is produced by internal combustion engines as an unfortunate side product. It's not really intentional, but because of the heat of combustion inside the engine, the air, nitrogen and oxygen in the air, they react to form NO2, and then of course because H2O is also a product of the burning of gasoline, diesel, then H2O plus NO2. Nitric acid. So what comes out of your tailpipe, the first thing to go in a car, the first part of the engine to rust is really the exhaust pipe. If you look at it, if you have a brand new car, depending on where you live, but given all variables given, it's the tailpipe that is first to go because that is where a lot of these acids collect. So the tailpipe erodes over time, and of course, tailpipes, factory built tailpipes are made of simple sheet of steel. Yung ginagamit na sa bubong ng bahay, ginagamit na roofing, similar to roofing material, so it corrodes very easily. So you can buy, that's why they sell aftermarket tailpipes made of stainless steel, which also corrodes, but less. That's why it's called stainless. Stainless steel is not perfect steel. It stains, but less. That's the meaning of less. It's not stain never. It's stain less. Right. Okay, so these two, NO and NO2, are known. Can you guess their name in their nickname? If SO2 and SO3 are SOx, NO and NO2 are NOx. Yeah. So when you think of acid rain, think of two things: SOx and NOx. SO2, SO3, NO, and NO2. These two are the major cause of acid rain. Unfortunately, both are products of industrial processes, especially the burning of fuel for energy production. Coal does not really contribute much, except if it has high sulfur content. So, parang ano lang yan, impurity ng coal. But because we burn more coal than other fuel. Coal is the most popular fuel nowadays in the industrial world. How many nuclear plants does Korea have? Do you know? Do you know, right? Something like that, like at least 20. At least 20. Imagine Korea, our very close neighbor, has about 20 nuclear power plants. And the Philippines has one, but PDO. Hindi pala PDO. And the PDO, pang display only. Pang display only. Okay. I know, you go there, you pay, I think, 500 pesos. They give you a tour. 500 na, no? Yeah, because I was in a place in Bagak the other day, no, last summer. We have a school in Bagak, Bataan, which is just maybe 20, 30 minutes away from the nuclear power plant because it's very good roads. Oh. Okay, very, very good question. Why did we construct? Is that your question?
Is it near the Earth's rate of malapit dito sa bubble?
Okay, but they have proven it. The volcano erupted. One of the greatest eruptions on Earth. Nothing happened to the power plant. So the geologic survey was correct.
Highland.
Diba? So nowhere in the Philippines will you find a place that is not near a volcano. Yeah, that's nothing happened. The new power plant, this is the nuclear power plant. What is critical about the power plant is the core, where the radioactive material interacts with the other material that produces heat. The neutrons from the radioactive material actually is losing energy in the form of, releasing energy in the form of neutrons, which is captured by another material to produce more energy, heat. Now, to slow down a nuclear reactor, you put a barrier in between the two. So the neutrons will not reach the other radioactive material. So there will be no nuclear reaction. No heat produced. In modern nuclear power plants, this whole thing is encased in at least 2-meter thick concrete. They said you can scoop the whole plant and throw it away, and the contents will not get spilled. What happened in Japan? No, basically what I'm saying is, it's okay to assess those risks. Being near a fault line, because nowhere in the Philippines will you find a place that is not near a fault line. That is something you have to read about. For example, Ateneo de Manila is right there at the fault line. If it opens, they go. But you don't say that's not. Then recently SM built a condominium beside Ateneo, right? Yeah, but why did they protest against that?
The earthquakes down, the building might fall.
I think the first person to worry about the earthquake would be those living in the condominium and not Ateneo. Right? Diba parang, okay, don't build your house here. Why? Because if there's an earthquake and your house falls, it will fall on us. If I were the owner of the house, I'd say, don't you think we should be the first ones to worry about us falling together with the house? Yeah, but that's, yeah, I know, it's always, we never question the condominium surroundings. We don't even question the fact that we are at one of the highest points in Metro Manila right now. The 7th floor is higher than most places in Metro Manila, right? So if there's an earthquake and we will fall like 100 or 70 feet down. And then 20, how many? 17 more, no, 16 more stories will fall on us. So no excuse, we die. Anyway, ano masabi ko? So alam niyo yung culprit ng acid rain, alam niyo yung volcano. Okay, kasi bumabalik tayo sa nuclear power because of this discussion, but that's really very, I dream of seeing a Philippines with independence, independent of oil. Like our electricity rates is, we already discussed this, the highest in the world. Oh, this is your next homework, but nilagay niyo ba sa homework yun?
Yeah.
I asked you to compare, diba? The power rates. Okay, homework. No, because this is like this. Acid rain is not a big issue in the Philippines. Why? Because we are not heavily industrialized. In China, it's terrible. Because very rapidly, the industrialization rate in China now is very rapid. They're building factories. They're burning a lot of coal because they have lots of coal. So the atmosphere there is now very, very acidic. Okay. There was a time, I did a long time, not even long time, 1990. Yeah, 1990. I was living in a place called Storrs, S-T-O-R-R-S. It's a small town in the state of Connecticut. Connecticut is a small state in the United States. There is a mountain range. Now, this is about acid rain. Buti naalala ko because this is my very first personal experience with acid rain. If this is the map of the United States, it's roughly like that. Okay, there's Mexico. Okay, nandito yung that is Manhattan, that is New York City, and this is Long Island. You know why it's called Long Island? It's long. It's an island. It's long. Okay. There's a mountain range here. It's called the Adirondack. You search the internet, Adirondacks. It's like our Sierra Madre. We have the Philippines as a very low mountain range stretching from the north, Cagayan, pababa, Sierra Madre. That's why we're here. If you want to go to the Pacific Ocean, very difficult because you have to cross the Sierra Madre Mountains. But now they have roads going to Real and to Panda Quezon, to Antipolo. Okay? But nagiba yata next week. Nagiba naman. They have that. These are really mountain. It's like crossing Baguio just to go to the other side. The center of industrialization in the United States started here. In the New Jersey area, they call it, in this area, they call it the tri-state area. Tri-state because of the three states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Nandito yung Connecticut. Hindi na korte ng Connecticut. Now, to make the long story short, nandito yung Detroit. You know what Detroit is famous for? Well, not so much now anymore, but that is where most of the cars in automobiles in the US were made, and automobiles in the world usually were made the most. They're heavily industrialized. This is the state of, the Great Lakes are here. And this is the state of Illinois. Midwest. This is where they burn a lot of coal. Now there is a wind pattern called the trade wind. There's a wind pattern that always flows from the west to the east. During winter, it flows from here going down. That's why it's cold, because wind from the North Pole, very, very cold because it's cold in the North Pole. It's cold. It goes to the North Pole and then flows. Winter. During the summer, it comes from here. Not very cold. Okay? Right. So wind. So this the atmosphere over this area is very high in SO2, SO3, NO, and NO2. Wind blows. The wind smacks against the mountain range. It's a mountain. So this is the mountain. Wind blowing. The mountain absorbs the garbage, the SO2, the NO2, from the wind, from the clouds. Okay. So in other words, this mountain range became very acidic. So I went there. The driving, the 10 hours. 10 hours driving alone, winter. I was stupid because if car breaks down, nobody there, nobody. You have to wait for like half a day before the other vehicle comes. So I brought like 3 buckets of fried chicken, Kentucky fried chicken. In winter, so they don't need refrigeration. It's like 50 degrees outside, Celsius outside. And I tested the ponds and the streams and the little lakes that I passed by. I have a bottle of pH paper. You've used this in the lab, right? This strip with the 4 colors. I've used that since many years ago. All lakes are acidic. pH of the lakes ranges from 3.4, sometimes 2.5. pH of vinegar is 2.3. So these lakes are very, very clear, very clear water. You look through the water and you can see the bottom, but nothing lives except bacteria that are adapted to acidic waters. no fish. But very pretty. But no fish. I mean, I didn't. You know, it's pretty but dead. No fish. So that was the first time I realized the impact of acid rain on natural. And the trees, the pine trees, if this is the leafy part, this is the bark. This is corroded. You can see the inside. No bark here. No bark. It's like a tree. You remove the bark, and you see the light-colored wood. It's because the acid is corroding the bark and it falls apart. There are portions that are like that, but not all portions. I think those that are at the inner side of the forest are protected by the ones that are outside, of course. So they die first. So you know, that I did not understand the whole thing at the beginning, but then I realized how far it can travel. We're not there yet, Peter. I don't think we will be there with the next generation, so don't worry about it. Because the industries that are sprouting in the Philippines are not those that involve burning of fossil fuels, but mainly call center. So a call center knows. Okay? All right, that's it for today. Homework. What's that homework? Power rates. Power rates. I want you to compare power. Doesn't have to be the whole world. Just Philippines, how much is per kilowatt hour? Japan, Southeast Asia na lang para madali. You know there's 12 Southeast Asian countries, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yun na lang. Kumpara nyo lang. Thailand, Malaysia, Myanmar, etc. Please write down. Compare power rates Philippines versus Southeast Asian countries. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.